Hi, my name is Blair Mcdonald. I'm 65 years old and I was raised in Victoria. I belong to a family which I call Sunday morning Anglicans. I was the youngest of three, so I was confirmed at 12 years old and then we never went back to church again. By 15, I had pretty much turned my back on everything that I had learned because it was all knowledge and I didn't understand. For the next 35 years, I just kept doing things, failing, fixing, trying again, marriages, relationships, children. By 2005, I was just spiraling out of control. My finances, my family, my last marriage was in trouble. And a friend of mine introduced me to a young couple who at the time I didn't know were Christians. When I found out, I didn't hold it against them because they by then had been starting to help me out. And I eventually learned that there was more in life. And I started to get a peace about how things were going. I went to a seminar one weekend with them and attended an altar call. And at that point, I asked Jesus to come into my life. And from then on, things did start to change, but I didn't really understand it. And within a year or so, I realized in the last 50 years of my life, he'd always been there. He'd helped me, he'd held me, he'd corrected my footsteps, he'd dragged me out of the deep, and never let too much harm come to me. Once I became a big sister, my little sister fell in love with Mandisa. So I went to HMV to get her a CD for her birthday. And I met this amazing man by the name of David Alexander. And he asked me why I was getting the music, and I told him, and I had a passion for at-risk youth. So he said I should go see this man called Tim at his church, because he ran something with Youth Unlimited. And being a skeptic about churches, I went, I'm gonna go check this place out first. I got lost 3 times that Sunday morning, and finally found it in this funky little mall. And when I walked in, it was Mother's Day, and sitting in the lobby was Operation Baby Bottle. I had tried to volunteer for Surrey Pregnancy Options, but because I was just a practicing Christian, didn't really know too much and didn't belong to a church, and this is my attitude coming forward, they wouldn't allow me to volunteer there. So in my arrogance and that, I figured they'd lost one of the best things that could have ever happened to them. But I walked into Southgate Church and Operation Baby Bottle was there, and I went, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? I hadn't been in church in more than probably 60 years that I really enjoyed it. And Pastor Dave gave the most passionate sermon on the value of women. And I just knew I was home. I met a woman within a couple of weeks who has become one of my very best friends, and her and I started coming to church together. In September of 2015, we did Freedom Session. So I'd only been coming to the church for 4 or 5 months, and boom, I was in Freedom Session. And then in March of 2016, I was baptized. I walked on a cloud higher than you can imagine for days. The smile would not leave my face. This was the miraculous walk that God put me on, starting in 2005, meeting that couple who fed into me. And then he led me to this church, which is my home. And I've had troubles in the last 4 years since I've been here. But the first place I go is God, and then the next place I go is the people in my church. And that's my miraculous story of how Jesus changed my life.